My name is Bert, and this is the Still Life Podcast. Welcome back to another episode of the Still Life Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Bert. I know it's been a couple weeks since I've posted anything. I've really had trouble coming up with things to talk about. Not because there's nothing going on in my life. There's plenty, and that's the problem. It's been kind of hard to nail down exactly what I want to discuss. And I try to come in with some sort of an idea of what I'd like to talk about. There are days where I just get on here and talk. But I wanted to kind of give attention to some certain things and, work on getting some guests lined up. And so in doing so, I had a couple snags with just schedules and things, and I just kept putting off making content. But here we go. So I am preparing for a journey. I've got my luggage on my bed. My room is an absolute disaster. I've got laundry going, dishes going. Everything is in full swing in my house as I prepare. I will be participating in a program called Operation Surf. It will be my first trip to California in 33 years. The last time I went, I was 6 years old. And here I am at 39. I am super excited for the flight. I'm super excited for the week, learning how to surf and getting to dig into some of my past traumas and just work on healing through becoming one with the ocean and getting out on the water and surfing. To say I'm excited is an understatement, really, because this is one of those things that I never thought was going to happen in my life. I always have wanted to learn how to surf, but just kind of figured, being 39 years old and living in a landlocked state, that it probably was never going to happen. Yet here I sit telling you about this journey I'm about to go on. So I'm incredibly excited to be able to participate in this event, in this retreat, and, get more embedded in the veteran community. Now, over the last year and a half, I have really focused on getting more involved with other veterans. Prior to that, I had a year membership to the VFW here locally, and it was mostly guys that are well more than double my age and were involved in either Korean War or Vietnam conflicts. And not a lot of, Operation Iraqi Freedom or Enduring Freedom veterans. And, it seemed like they always were asking for money. They weren't necessarily asking for involvement in things or wanting to be active in the community. It was just, well, we want to pass this legislation and we need your financial help to do that. Now, that's not why I got involved in the veteran community, and particularly the VFW. I thought it was going to help me, and it just didn't. Now, there are some people who love the VFW, and that's fine, but I tried it. It was not for me. Since my time spent with the VFW, I have found a home, of course, as you all know, in MVP, or Emerging Vets and Players. MVP has done so many things for me and helping me on my journey and helping me improve myself and work through not just combat-related traumas, but the trauma of growing up, and some of the things that I've been through and experienced in my life. So, this Operation Surf, this opportunity spawned out of a message from somebody with MVP that said, hey, if you haven't heard of this or haven't done it, this is a really cool opportunity. And so I applied, and I was, through an interview process, was selected to participate. So super stoked to be able to go, super stoked to get in the ocean. And I'm excited beyond words, really. Words just can't express how I feel about this journey, this trip, and this experience that will be upcoming for me. More than likely, I will not post any content next week. While I'm on this retreat, I will be focusing on myself. So if you get content from me next week, consider yourselves fortunate. Outside of that, I'm trying to get the house squared away. Got a dog sitter, all that fun stuff. Getting my luggage packed. It's the first time I have traveled by myself and stayed somewhere for more than, a night or two, or really a day, by myself in, what is it, 2021? 2009 was the last time, so 12 years since I've flown by myself prior to, but this will be the first really big trip I've taken on my own in 12 years, in over a decade. So I'm not even nervous, really. I enjoy flying. It's excitement, really. And, there's a little anxiety, of course, always with travel and going through airports and places you haven't been ever or haven't been in a long time. So, not like a huge thing, just normal travel anxieties, I guess. I always get really excited and a little anxious before a trip. Nothing, out of the ordinary for me. With that said, I do look forward to coming back and being able to share my experience with everybody via the podcast or, through my personal Facebook and Instagram or whatever the case may be. But super excited, ready to do this, and, the timing just couldn't be better. So, it'll be in the 40s here in Kansas City, and it's going to be, I think, in the 70s in Southern California. So, super pumped just to go and get a little bit more out of summer before I come back and have to endure a cold rest of the year. So, yeah, the house is in full swing. There's a ton of stuff going on in preparation for this trip. And it feels weird. It feels good. But that's where I'm at. So I'm going to keep it short and sweet. That's really all I've got. And I will have some guest announcements coming up after I return in the coming weeks. So I appreciate you all taking the time to listen to the podcast, whether this is the first episode you've heard or the 50th episode you've heard. I thank you for your continued support and patronage. And with that, I would like to thank you all for joining me today on the Still Life Podcast. As always, for questions, comments, topic ideas, or suggestions, you can email us, thestilllifepodcast@gmail.com, or give us a follow and message us, Facebook, Instagram, or our YouTube channel at The Still Life Podcast, or Twitter at The Still Life Pod. Thanks again for joining me today on the Still Life Podcast. I'll catch you on the other side.